Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. In a world obsessed with announcements, where every step seems to demand an audience, I invite you today to consider a quieter, more powerful path, keeping your plans for 2025 to yourself. Not because your dreams aren't worth sharing, but because sometimes silence is strength and privacy is power. Success thrives in silence. Not because it's secretive or enigmatic, but because it requires space and time to mature. Like a seed buried in the ground, success begins quietly, out of sight. It doesn't shout for attention, seek approval, or make announcements. It simply does the work, consistently, quietly, until one day it breaks through the surface, strong and undeniable for the world to witness. Yet so many of us feel the urge to broadcast our goals, our next moves, and the steps we're taking to get there. Why is that? Maybe it's a desire for validation. Maybe it's the excitement of being noticed. Look at me. I'm on the path to something great. But here's the catch: the more energy you spend talking about what you will do, the less energy you have left to actually do it. It's a strange paradox. Oversharing your dreams can actually rob them of the momentum they need to become real. In both business and personal growth, I've seen this pattern time and again. People with bold visions, powerful ideas, and deep potential talk themselves out of progress. How? By announcing their plans too early, they open the door to doubt, distraction, and discouragement. Before long, the spark that once fueled them fades, and the dream slowly dies. So today, I want to share a simple but powerful mindset. Keep your plans close, not out of secrecy, but out of wisdom. Let's talk about developing a mindset that puts action above talk, focus over applause, and results over recognition. Because in the end, it's not your words that shape your future. It's your consistent effort. There's a subtle but important link between intention and execution. Every time you speak your goals out loud, you release some of the energy behind them. You give away a piece of the drive that should be fueling your next step. And often, that drive is best kept inside, nurtured quietly, rather than shared too soon. Here's why. When you tell others your goals, I'm starting a company, or I'm going to lose 20 pounds, you often get a quick hit of validation. People smile, nod, maybe even cheer you on. It feels good, doesn't it? That sense of support. But here's the risk. Your brain starts to confuse praise for progress. You haven't achieved anything yet, but it feels like you have. And that feeling can kill your urgency. The fire cools. The excitement fades. The goal, once vibrant and alive in your imagination, now feels like something you've already achieved, even though you haven't taken real steps. So you delay, you get comfortable, and slowly, the dream dies in the comfort of intention, rather than the struggle of execution. Some might argue, but isn't sharing your plans a form of accountability? Yes, but only if shared with the right people, at the right time. Not everyone will understand your vision. Some will question your path. Others will project their fears and doubts onto your journey. Even if they don't say a word, their skepticism can feel like a weight dragging your ambition down. Sometimes, doubt creeps in without warning. Suddenly you're second, guessing yourself, questioning whether your idea was really that good to begin with. You start wondering if the critics might be right. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you should never talk about your ideas. That's not the point. The point is to be intentional about who, when, and how you share. In the beginning, your vision is delicate, like a seedling. It needs care and protection, not exposure to harsh conditions. Be selective. Share your thoughts with those who will encourage growth, not stump on your dreams. Surround yourself with mentors, close friends, or trusted allies who genuinely want to see you succeed. But even with them, be measured. Keep the details tight. Let your vision evolve privately before you bring it into the public eye. There's power in restraint. There's strength in surprise. Think about it. There's something deeply impactful about revealing a finished project that no one saw coming. Imagine working behind the scenes, quietly and consistently, for months or even years. Then one day, you present the result, a completed goal, a polished creation. The effect is powerful. It leaves people in awe. Why? Because it wasn't all talk. It was action. Let your work speak for itself. I once knew someone who was bursting with ideas. He had plans to start a business and was excited. Maybe too excited. He told everyone. At every gathering, he'd talk endlessly about what he was going to do. But time passed and nothing materialized. The more he talked, the more people doubted him. And eventually, he started to doubt himself too. Then there was another man, a farmer from the Midwest. He had a big dream too, but he didn't make announcements. He read, researched, and quietly changed the way he ran his farm. When harvest season came, the results spoke volumes. People were stunned by his success. And when they asked how he pulled it off, all he said was, "I did the work when nobody was watching." There's a lesson there. The less time you spend explaining your plans, the more time you have to execute them. The less you seek approval, the stronger your self-belief becomes. And the fewer people you let into your process, the more control you have over your own story. This isn't about being secretive. It's about being strategic. Ask yourself, how many times have you shared a goal, only to feel the motivation fade afterward? How often have someone's doubts or offhand comments thrown you off course? We don't always realize it, but when we speak too soon, we're often handing over our power, our energy, to others. But here's the good news: you can reclaim that power. Choose action. Protect your dreams. Let your results speak for you. The world is full of noise, opinions, distractions, and advice you never asked for. And when you open up about your goals too early, you invite that noise in. Suddenly, everyone has something to say. Some might doubt you, some might discourage you, and others, though they may mean well, might confuse you with too many ideas. Even subtle skepticism can be dangerous. A quiet, "Are you sure?" or "That's risky," can plant uncertainty. Doubt grows fast, and it can strangle your motivation before your plans even get off the ground. Sometimes, it's not even criticism, it's envy. Not everyone wants to see you rise, especially if your ambition reminds them of their own missed chances. Their negativity may not be loud, but it still drains your energy. That's why silence is powerful. When you keep your plans close, you stay focused. You create space to build, grow, and adapt without interference. It's like placing your dreams in a greenhouse, giving them warmth, protection, and time to develop until they're strong enough to thrive on their own. Most importantly, you build momentum, and momentum loves quiet. When you act consistently and purposefully, without needing applause or validation, you enter a rhythm. Every small win fuels the next. Progress becomes natural. But when you stop to talk about your plans too much, you break that rhythm. You move from doing to defending, from building to explaining. It's like trying to drive across the country, but pulling over every few miles just to tell people where you're headed. You lose speed. You lose time. You lose clarity. Let your journey be your focus. Let your silence be your strength. Let your success do the talking. Sometimes, we lose our sense of direction when we're not actively moving forward. Let me share a story that highlights the power of momentum and quiet discipline. A friend of mine had always dreamed of writing a book. It was something deeply personal to him, and he was determined to make it happen. But instead of announcing his plans or seeking attention, he set a quiet, private goal: write 500 words every single day until it was done. He didn't tell anyone, not even his closest friends. He just showed up, day after day, doing the work in silence. Months later, he finally shared his finished manuscript with a few trusted people. Their reaction: pure admiration. Not only was the book impressive, but they were amazed that he had completed it without ever needing applause or validation. And when the book was published, it succeeded, not because of a flashy launch, but because the quality spoke for itself. Now contrast that with another friend. He was equally passionate about writing, but instead of writing, he spent months talking about writing. He'd call to give updates, share outlines, ask for constant feedback. The more he talked, the less he wrote. Eventually, the project faded away. Why? Because his energy was spent seeking validation rather than building momentum. There's a lesson in this: action builds confidence. Excessive talking leads to hesitation. When you consistently take steps, even small ones, you show yourself what you're capable of. You develop a rhythm and a sense of accomplishment that propels you forward. But when you overtalk, you stay stuck in the idea phase. What could be, without ever making it real. Some people worry that keeping goals private makes them seem distant or secretive. But the truth is, discretion is not isolation. It's focus. It's a way of protecting what matters most. Your dreams are delicate in the beginning, and not everyone deserves a front row seat to your process. Think of planting a garden. You don't invite the whole neighborhood to stomp through the soil before anything has sprouted. You prepare the ground, water it carefully, and wait for the first signs of growth. Only then do you invite others to see what you've cultivated. It's the same with your goals. Keeping them private doesn't mean hiding. It means being intentional. You're creating space to grow, to experiment, to learn without the burden of outside expectations. And when you're finally ready to share your work, it will speak for itself, because it's been built on action, not promises. So here's a challenge: the next time you set a goal, resist the urge to broadcast it. Instead, pour your energy into doing, not talking. Write it down. Create a plan. Take the first step, quietly and with purpose. The aim isn't to impress others with your intentions. It's to impress yourself with your results. There's something freeing about moving in silence. Without external pressure, you move at your own pace. But when you announce your plans to everyone, you're suddenly under a spotlight. People begin watching, waiting, judging. That pressure can stall your progress, especially early on when things are still uncertain and evolving. Success is rarely a straight path. It's full of detours, setbacks, experiments. And when you're constantly being watched, those bumps in the road feel amplified. Every delay becomes open to criticism. Every mistake is scrutinized. But if you keep your goals to yourself, you give yourself room to fail quietly, to adjust without judgment, and to learn in peace. This is why discretion is more than a strategy. It's a gift to yourself. It gives you a safe zone to explore, grow, and refine your ideas. And here's the beauty: when you're not chasing approval, you start trusting your own voice more. You make decisions based on your instincts, not on what others think. Now, you might wonder, isn't feedback important? Absolutely. But feedback only helps when it comes from the right people and at the right time. Not everyone is equipped to give meaningful input, and not every stage of your journey is ready for it. In the beginning, when your vision is still forming, you need to protect it. Focus on execution. Then, once you've built something real, invite feedback from those you respect and trust. I once knew someone who was brilliant at spotting potential. He had a knack for seeing opportunity where others saw obstacles. But he had one major flaw. He couldn't stop talking about his ideas. Every time a new thought struck him, he shared it with anyone who'd listen. And more often than not, someone else would act on it before he did. His edge vanished because he revealed too much too soon. Compare that to another businessman I knew. Quiet, humble, reserved. He rarely spoke about his work, but he was always building. While others talked, he executed. And when he finally showed what he had created, it was always polished, thoughtful, and impactful. He didn't need to promote his ideas. They were strong enough to speak for themselves. This leads us to a powerful truth. Results are your best marketing. When you accomplish something real, people notice. Not because you told them to, but because what you've done carries weight. Your work creates ripples that spread further than your words ever could. There's one more reason to stay quiet about your plans, and it's often overlooked focus. When you share your goals too early, you start scattering your energy. People will ask questions, offer opinions, introduce doubts. All of that becomes noise. Noise that pulls you away from what really matters: the work. People often offer advice, share opinions, and throw out ideas that, while well-intentioned, can pull you in many directions. Before long, you lose sight of what you originally set out to do. What once felt clear, and focus becomes cloudy and uncertain. Focus is one of your most valuable assets. It's what enables you to direct your energy toward a specific goal, to cut through distractions, and to make meaningful progress. One of the best ways to protect your focus is to be selective about who you share your plans with. The fewer voices in your ear, the easier it is to stay aligned with your vision. So, what would happen if you applied this principle in your own life? Imagine beginning a new project, a business, an artwork, a fitness goal, without telling anyone. Imagine working on it quietly, without seeking approval or feedback. What could you accomplish in that quiet space? How much more could you achieve without the pressure of outside expectations? That's the heart of what we're exploring. The freedom to pursue your goals privately, the strength to let your efforts speak louder than your words, and the wisdom to protect your ideas until they're strong enough to be seen. This isn't about secrecy or isolation. It's about being intentional. It's about understanding that your focus, energy, and momentum are limited and too precious to waste on unnecessary conversations. And when your work is ready to be revealed, when the results are real and undeniable, your success will speak for itself. There will be no need for validation, because your actions will be the evidence. You'll feel the deep satisfaction of knowing you didn't just talk about what you wanted. You actually did it. Keeping your goals to yourself isn't about hiding. It's about respect. Respecting your own process, your own pace, and your own power. It's about understanding that action has far more impact than words, and that real success grows quietly, out of view, long before anyone notices. When you choose to keep your plans private, you're sending a message, not to the world, but to yourself. You're saying, I believe in what I'm doing. I don't need approval to begin, and I don't need applause to keep going. That kind of quiet confidence is powerful. It frees you to take risks, to learn without judgment, and to grow in your own time. And here's the best part: when you do succeed, you'll inspire others. Not with promises or posts, but with proof. Your results will show what's possible through discipline, consistency, and silent dedication. So the next time you set a goal, try something different. Don't announce it. Don't seek opinions. Just write it down. Make a plan and begin. Let your progress speak for itself. Trust that when the time is right, the world will see what you've built. And they'll respect it even more because you didn't ask them to. Success doesn't need a spotlight. It grows in the quiet, in the unseen hours, in the moments no one else notices. So protect your dreams. Stay focused and let your work do the talking. That's the real path to success, and it's absolutely worth following.